Good morning. Morning, everybody. So much milks. It's true. So much milks. Hey, Anya. Hey, Kristen. I can't get the collagen down. Why won't it come down? There it is. Okay, got it. How's everyone doing? On the cusp of a cold. Oh no. What's going on? That's not good. Not good, not good. Bad, not good. Hey, Becca. Hey, Rainbow Dads. I think you need to record a good morning singing for us to wake our kids up to. I could probably do that. I can do that. Morning, Cindy. Sore throat, cough, and congestion. Oh no, that sounds awful. Good morning, good morning. We've danced the whole night through. Good morning to you. Good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning, my darling, to you. When the band began to play, the stars were shining bright. Now the milkman's on his way. It's too late to say good night. So good morning, good morning. So Jesus who is far through. Good morning, my darling, to you. Are we all awake now? Hey, Grace. Heliotrope day smells like something I cannot put my finger on. Deliciousness, I hope. Yay, book club! Woo! Sasha, your next big project should be an album of classics. You sound like my mother. If somebody wants to find a producer who wants to pay for that, then sure. No canceled. I was just late. I was up late packing orders, and then I was up at 6 and couldn't sleep, so I slept a little bit later. My infusion is at 1:30 today. 1:30. So what I will do is I will pack a bunch of orders, and then I will shower, and I will take them to the post office, and then I will go to my infusion, and then I will come back and do more. A brush is not needed. Actually, that's incorrect. If you have hair that is like this and you brush it when it's dry, you will break your hair. So I do not recommend that. That is a very, very poor decision. Do not brush your hair. If you have curly hair, don't brush it dry. Do not do that. It's a very, very bad suggestion. Don't tell anyone that. You will break their hair. So in your attempt to be mean, you actually just are incorrect, unfortunately. Sorry. It is the facts. Right? Yeah, why? Someone said, you need a hairbrush, and I said, no, I don't. You can't brush your hair when it's dry if you have curly hair. So they were attempting to be mean, but they failed because they just don't know how hair works. Thank you, I appreciate that. He thinks my hair looks great. made you coffee. Morning, Mina. Morning, Jen. I just toss my hair up in the mornings without brushing it. It's like, yeah, sometimes I do that, but I've been trying to give it a little bit of a break, you know? It's literally a rainbow. It's impossible to look at. Oh, you're sweet. No, but I get it. Like, I get the sentiment. You know, I don't know if I should do Galaxy Colors or Rainbow. Do Galaxy! Are you saying you're proud of me because you got, did you get the book in the mail? Is that why, Mina? Is that what you're saying? What are you saying? Speak English to me. It did come! Yay! Oh, yay! I'm so glad it came and I'm so glad you love it. Woohoo! Yay! That makes me so happy. Do it. Do it, Grace. I'll do it with you. All plans for the day are canceled because you're reading. Yay! I'm so glad. I'm so glad you got it. And everything. Yeah, that's wonderful. Work keeps getting in the way of my reading time. That's fair. I understand that. Work gets in the way of my reading time too, and I think my boss is a jerk.
Uh-oh.
Your coffee's over there. You're welcome. My boss doesn't let me read at work. It's weird. She doesn't let me do really anything while I'm at work. She doesn't let me have any fun.
None?
None. No fun. I know, Liz. Oh, Liz, just so you know, I started the Addie LaRue book yesterday. It's great. Thank you so much for gifting that to me. That was such a lovely gift. It's such a good book. Really good so far.
Dishes up.
We did them yesterday. We don't have hardly anything in here. What do you need?
I'll grab it.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't know you.
It's gross and rainy for you. It was gross and rainy here yesterday, but today it is a sunshiny day. I know, Liz. I know, but you know how things are, like with book lists and whatever. And I finished the things that I had, and I was like, I will. Yeah, I'm excited to get further into it. I'm about 60 pages in. Today we're supposed to get severe weather, but it's 70 degrees. Weird. Maybe I passed it on to you, Cindy. Maybe. Mina, I would love play-by-play reactions from you. I know this is book club, but I got a question to send you another message. Yeah, just Sarah, I'm really close to finishing. Like, I'm almost through everyone, so just hang tight. Send me a message if you want, but like, I'll check it as soon as I get off of here. I'm literally almost done. I even have a post written up about like what's gonna happen next after I finish because I'm that close to being done. Yeah. You got a Goodreads? Oh, yay! Who else has Goodreads? I got a Goodreads just when the book came out because I don't remember who suggested it to me. A bunch of people, I think. But if you guys are open to friending me on Goodreads, I would love it. And also, like, if you guys mark my... Oh, you're totally fine, Sarah. Mark my book as, like, something that you're reading or whatever. Apparently that helps on Goodreads as well. I didn't know about all that. Yeah, well, yeah, I know. I'm friends with you on Goodreads. I need to do this for social things. I keep forgetting Goodreads. Yes, Goodreads. I have a Goodreads and I'll write my first review. Yay! I'm continuing to fight with a Goodreads again. Really? What's wrong with it? I can already tell you chapter 1 crying, chapter 2 bawling. You can't sob. It's a funny book, Mina. No crying. No crying. It's funny. Laugh. Ha ha! Mina got my book in the mail today, and because she's been my friend for so long and she's so proud of me, she burst into tears. But I don't want her to cry while she reads it.
She won't be able to cry while reading it.
She said she'll cry because she's laughing. I mean, I hope so. I hope that's why. It's pretty funny. I think, anyway.
I think it's
I think it's funny. For sure. All right. Because I started late, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. But if anyone is new here, since it looks like maybe some new people in here today, I wrote a book. It's called The Prince of Oregon. Please consider it. Apparently, I have a friend who's a librarian, and oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Sydney, tell her to contact me if she wants, and I can help her out. But also, it is available through the thing that they're allowed to order it through. But if she wants to do it directly from me, I'm fine to do that as well. I have no problem with that. My copies have barcodes on them too, if that's what they need. So, yeah. I tried to reach out. I think I might have told you guys. I tried to reach out to the little gift shop that's on the pier that the book takes place on, but it bounced back their email. So, that's lame. I was like, so I commented on their Instagram. I was like, hey, your email bounces back. Is there any way to contact you? Because it's like a little gift shop that sells like cute crafts and postcards and things like that. And I was like, this literally is on the pier that the book takes place on. So like, feels like a good fit. I don't know. Hopefully she gets back to me. I've met the owner before when I worked there, but we'll see. Are Anya and Liz role-playing like they've just met for the first time in the comments here right now? Are we watching them make a joke? What is happening right now? These two women have been talking for over a year, and they are role-playing like they don't know each other. I'm laughing. You guys are ridiculous. That's enough from both of you. Get out. That was hilarious. I started reading the comments. I was like, what's happening right now? That was funny. You guys are funny. The humor of it all. Anyway, we're reading Land of Stories, book 6, which may be cause for tears. Who's to say? Unlike my book, this can make you cry. This is chapter 7, and it is called Pizza Bagels and Barricades. Not yet, Kristen, but we're going to. Together. After this. In Midtown Manhattan, on the corner of 5th Avenue and 34th Street, was a famous bistro called Cheesy Street. The cafe was a tourist hotspot and sold all the foods New York City was famous for. Never heard of it. Did he make this up? Because I've never heard of it.
Oh, no.
Visitors and locals alike journeyed to Cheesy Street for their renowned pizza, bagels, cheesecake, pastrami, and clam chowder. If the staff had seen their fair share of eccentric customers over the year, it was nothing like the party of 12 who joined them for lunch today. Mindy, Cindy, Lindy, and Wendy, known in their community as the Book Huggers, shared a plate of Cheesy Street's signature pizza bagels. The girls stared down at the cheesy hybrid on their plates in total silence with blank expressions. Sitting across from them were all 4 pairs of the Book Huggers' parents. They eyed their daughters with great caution and concern, as if the girls were explosives with faulty wiring. I'm so glad we decided to go on this trip, Mindy's mom said. It was very last minute, but sometimes a spontaneous trip is exactly what you need to clear your head, isn't it? The Book Huggers didn't respond or look up from their plates. I think it's the perfect place to visit, Cindy's dad said. Isn't New York City amazing? There are so many things to do and see here. What's been your favorite attraction so far? Once again, the Book Huggers didn't say a word or move a muscle. Well, I loved Central Park, Lindy's mom said. I also liked the Empire State Building and visiting Ellis Island on our tour of the United Nations, and of course last night's performance of The Phantom of the Opera. I imagine everyone leaves New York City influenced or inspired in some way, Wendy's dad said. It really makes you think how many different people there are in this world. It reminds you of how many different interests there are to devote your time and energy to. It sure makes Willow Crest and everyone who lives there seem rather dull. Wouldn't you agree? The Book Huggers nodded in perfect unison without looking up. It was rather creepy, but their parents were thankful for any response they could get. Let's address the elephant in the room, and I'm not talking about Cheesy Street's mascot, Mindy's other mom said. We know the last week has been really challenging for you. Recovering from a psychotic breakdown requires profound strength. Hallucinations and obsessions are very difficult things to recognize and admit to, but we couldn't be prouder of you girls for taking the proper steps to treat yourselves. Dr. Jackson is very confident that all you needed was a little time, a little love, and some pleasant distractions, and you'll be good as new. Hopefully this spontaneous trip will be just what the doctor ordered. Finally, the book huggers looked up from their plates and smiled at their parents. The trip itself wasn't enough to take the Bailey twins off their minds, but the compassion coming from their parents did warm their hearts. Thank you, Mindy said. And even though we've been quiet all week, we really do appreciate you taking us on this trip. Yeah, this week's been awesome, Cindy said. It was really nice of you guys to all take time off of work to treat us like this. Whatever we may be going through, we're lucky to have parents like you to go through it with, Lindy added. Wendy pointed to her heart and then pointed to her parents, implying that her compassion was fully reciprocated. The book huggers' parents were so relieved to finally hear their children speak, tears came to their eyes. Fantastic, Cindy's mom said. I'm so glad we're all on the same page. Now let's make the most of our last day in the city. I say we take a helicopter tour after lunch, but first let's order some dessert. The party of 12 happily looked over the dessert menu. Their concentration was momentarily interrupted by a procession of 4 police cars speeding down the street with their sirens blaring. Wow, whatever's happening at the library must be serious, Lindy's dad said. We've seen dozens of police cars headed that way, and I even heard they evacuated the whole building and a 2-block radius. Well, when we were shopping at Fifth Avenue earlier, we asked the officer what was going on, Wendy's mom said. They told us it was a big gas leak, but nothing they couldn't handle. The evacuation's just a precaution. The book huggers looked out the window behind their parents to watch the police cars racing down Fifth Avenue, but their hearts stopped at another alarming sight on 34th Street. Through the front window of a taxi van waiting for the cops to pass, they saw a familiar, freckled face. Connor! The book huggers collectively gasped. Their parents quickly snapped their head back towards their daughters and stared at them as if they were explosive fuses that had now been lit. What did you say, girls? Mindy's mom asked. Cobbler? Cindy's dad suggested. I think they said they want cobbler. Isn't that right? No, Dad, Cindy said. Look behind you. It isn't a hallucination. It's Connor Bailey in the taxi outside Cheesy Street. The book hugger's parents quickly turned to the window, but thanks to some unknown force in the universe that constantly made them the punchline of a big cosmic joke, Connor bent down a second before they would have seen him. The only person the book hugger's parents saw inside the taxi was its Middle Eastern driver. The taxi continued down the street before Connor resurfaced. No! Mindy screamed. He was there! He was right there! I saw him too. I swear it, Lindy protested. Connor Bailey was just outside this window. But why would he be here? Cindy asked. Of all the restaurants in New York City, why would he be outside of ours? There's only one explanation, Mindy announced. We've been right the whole time. Something otherworldly is going on with the Bailey twins. It started in school, it spread to the hospital, and now it's in New York City. Wendy made 2 fists and slammed them down on the table as if to say, there's a vast conspiracy against us and we must get to the bottom of it. The book huggers burst into tears. Their parents exchanged exasperated looks and sighed. Apparently New York City wasn't the pleasant distraction they'd hoped it would be. Even though everyone in Cheesy Street was already looking at their table, Lindy's mom raised a hand to get the waiter's attention. Check, please. After a turbulent flight and a rough landing at John F. Kennedy International Airport, Connor and his friends hopped into a taxi van for another bumpy ride into Manhattan. As if their taxi driver were paid per pothole, the taxi rattled and shook as it drove down the highway toward Midtown. Goldilocks had a difficult time holding on to Hero, so she put him in the baby Bjorn Red had purchased. The newborn wasn't bothered by the rocky ride at all. After 9 months in Goldilocks' womb, Hero was used to such commotion and found it quite comforting. The rougher things became, the easier it was for him to sleep. It's true. Connor sat in the front passenger seat and changed the driver's radio to local news to hear if there had been any developments since the night before. According to the news, a massive gas leak was responsible for all the barricades and
evacuations in the area surrounding the New York Public Library. However, to Connor's surprise, nothing was mentioned about the lively lion statues they had seen on the television. I don't understand it, he said. There was footage of the statues swiping at the police officers. We can't be the only ones who saw that. They're probably just covering it up to prevent hysteria, Bree said. It's like the 1947 UFO crash in Roswell, New Mexico. Newspapers reported the wreckage of... You want a smoothie dance? He can't hear me because he's got headphones in. Do you want a smoothie?
What?
Do you want a smoothie dance?
What?
Do you want a smoothie dance?
In about a minute.
Okay.
Let's see.
Thank you.
Smoothie dance?
Smoothie sneeze? Why do I feel like I'm gonna sneeze again? It's time to smoothie dance, you guys. Mid-chapter smoothie dance. Secret Fiance went like this. Woohoo! We got the thumbs up from the conductor. It's just like the 1947 UFO crash in Roswell, New Mexico. Newspapers reported the wreckage of a flying saucer had been discovered, and then the following day, an army ordered the press to retract the story and say that it was just a weather balloon. Connor gulped at the thought of Alex being turned into another weather balloon. He was so worried about his sister, he barely noticed the Queens neighborhood zipping past his window or the Manhattan skyline in the distance ahead. The taxi entered the Queens Midtown Tunnel, which stretched underneath the East River and re-emerged in the middle of Manhattan. Connor and his friends stared at the city in awe as their taxi zigzagged between the crowded sidewalks and towering skyscrapers. The hustling metropolis was such a spectacular sight it almost took Connor's mind off of Alex. This whole city feels like it's buzzing, Goldilocks noted. They must sell a lot of caffeine here. The buildings stand higher than beanstalks, Jack said. Connor, why didn't you tell us New York City was so tall? Actually, I'm just as amazed as you are, Connor said. I've written about cities like this, but I've never been able to describe the feeling it gives at first sight. Now I know it's because it can't be described in words. Red grunted, forever unimpressed with the other out. Sure, it's big, but why does everything need to be so boxy? She asked. Is it too much to ask for a tower, or a dome, or a sensible spiral? I feel like a mouse in a shoebox closet. They drove through the wide intersection and the glistening roof of the Chrysler building came into view. Red squealed and pressed her hands and her forehead against the window. Now that's more like it, she said. The taxi paused briefly on the corner of 5th Avenue and 34th Street, waiting for a precision of police vehicles to pass by. Connor could have sworn he recognized a few people in the window of a restaurant called Cheesy Street, but he figured it was just his mind playing tricks on him. Thank you!
Welcome.
That's yummy. As he moved to take a second look, he dropped his wallet on the floorboard. By the time he sat back up, the taxi was already moving again. Once the police were gone, the driver turned on 5th Avenue and pulled over between 33rd and 34th Street. I know you wanted to get as close to the library as possible, but you might want to get out here, he suggested. Traffic is backed up in this area because of the gas leak. It'll be faster if you just walk the rest of the way. That works, Connor said. How much do I owe you? That'll be $60 total, the driver said. We have to pay for this ride? Red asked in disbelief. For goodness sake, a runaway carriage would have been more comfortable. We were 2 bumps away from having our innards scrambled. Don't complain to me, lady, the driver said. I took the smooth streets. It said 34th Street. I think they're implying that you have to walk Yeah, 33rd and 34th. I think he's implying that the backup is so big that they have to walk to 44th from 34th. The gas leak was so bad. You know, I think that's the implication. Connor retrieved some cash from his wallet and paid the driver. He and his friends got out of the taxi and joined the bustling pedestrians on Fifth Avenue sidewalk. Connor looked up and down the street, but the crowd made it difficult for him to figure out where they were. Which way's the public library? He asked, thinking aloud. Oh, I'd look it up on my phone, but I don't want my parents to track me. It's a long story, Bree said. It looks like we have to resort to ancient methods and ask for directions. Connor and Bree tried to flag someone down, but all the tourists and locals breezed right past them. There were so many people Red couldn't see where she was walking and almost stepped on a homeless man sitting on the ground. Hey, your majesty, he said. Watch where you're going. The man was scruffy and wore a janitor's uniform under a dark brown coat. Red smiled down at him and patted his head like he was a dog. Oh, bless you, she said. Thank you for recognizing me, but there's no need for formal titles while I'm in this world. Red, he's being sarcastic, Bree said. Most people in the other world don't walk around in ball gowns and tiaras. Since the homeless man was the only person on the street who wasn't in a hurry to get somewhere, Connor figured he was their best shot at getting directions to the library. Excuse me, sir, he said. Could you tell us how to get to the New York Public Library from here? Sure I could, the homeless man said. Got $1? Connor shrugged and gave him $1. The homeless man held it towards the sun, making sure it was a legitimate bill. Walk north on this street for 6 blocks, then make a left, and you can't miss it, although I doubt they're letting anyone get close to it after what happened last night. Are you talking about the gas leak? Bree asked. Gas leak? Is that what they said happened? The homeless man snorted and shook his head disapprovingly. Typical. They're always trying to convince people... They're always trying to control people by keeping them in the dark. Well, they can't control me. I was at the library last night and saw what really happened with my own eyes. Connor and his friends... Connor and his friends formed a half circle around the homeless man, which seemed to make him a little nervous. Mind telling us what you saw? Connor asked. We'd really love to know what's going on. I'd love to tell you, but a story will cost you $10, the man said. $10, Connor said, but you only charged me $1 for directions. Listen, kid, I didn't wind up on the streets from being a bad businessman. If I got something you want, it's gonna cost you. Connor rolled his eyes and gave the homeless man $10. Once the man inspected the money, he tucked it away and began his story. It was around midnight and I was sleeping down by the library, he said. They've got this bench near the fountain. It's my favorite place to take a snooze in the city. Anywho, I was dreaming about playing in the World Series when I was rudely awoken by the sound of police sirens. I was worried the library security guard had called a fuzz on me, so I hid behind some bushes. Next thing I know, some broad comes floating out of the library like a ghost. She raised her hand into the sky and bam! Lightning struck both those lion statues. Naturally, once I saw that, I bolted like a rat in a cat house. To be honest, it's not even the first time I've seen magic like this in the city, but hey, who's gonna believe a bum like me, am I right? Connor's heart was beating so hard he could feel it in multiple parts of his body. He leaned down and looked at the homeless man directly in the eye. The girl who floated out of the library, what did she look like? She was really pale, the man said. She had bright blue eyes and long reddish blonde hair, and she wore a white dress. Come to think of it, she looked a lot like you, kid. Alex, Connor gasped. We were right. She is here. She's at the library. Without any warning, he dashed up Fifth Avenue as fast as he could. His friends followed. They weaved through the crowd on the sidewalk until they came to a dead stop on a barricade at 38th Street. The blockade was an overwhelming sight. A dozen police cars were parked in a row across the street to prevent pedestrians and traffic from going any further. Beyond the cars and dozens of police officers were scattered through the vacated area. Connor tried sneaking past the barricade, but an officer blocked him. Whoa, 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 the officer said. Where's the fire? Please, you have to let me through, Connor said. It's an emergency. Sorry, no one's allowed past this point, the officer said. They're clearing up a nasty gas leak by the library, and it isn't safe. Yes, I know that's what they're telling people, but my sister is the one at the library, and I need to get there before someone harms her. Young man, the library's been evacuated, the officer said. I promise, whoever your sister was, she's been moved to a safer location. No, you don't understand, Connor yelled. She's the one causing all of this. You need to let me through so that I can help her. As if Connor were on autopilot, he pushed the officer out of the way, squeezed between the rows of police vehicles, and made a run for the library before he even realized what was going on. Unfortunately, he was only half a block past the barricade when he was tackled to the pavement by another police officer. Connor fought the officer with all his might, determined to reach the library. It took 2 more officers and he was pinned to the ground. They handcuffed him and threw him into the back seat of the nearest vehicle. "You've got to let me go," Connor pleaded. "The whole world may be in danger if you don't let me find my sister." "You're out of your mind, kid," the officer said and slammed the car door. "Stay in there and chill out." It all happened so fast, none of Connor's friends knew what to do. They were vastly outnumbered by the police officers standing nearby, and if they tried to intervene now, they'd all get arrested. Connor looked through the window and stared at his friends helplessly on the sidewalk and mouthed sorry. Now that he'd been detained in the backseat of a police car, the odds of finding Alex had plummeted. One impulsive move to save his sister might have cost them everything. Suddenly, the ground began to vibrate. Everyone in the area worried it was an earthquake until the vibration was accompanied by the sound of roaring engines. Connor and his friends and all the police officers looked down 38th Street and discovered a long row of beige Hummers speeding towards them. The police allowed the Hummers through the barricade, and they parked side by side in an impressively straight line. Swarms of United States Marines emerged from the vehicles in camouflage uniforms with their weapons ready. Oh no! An older man with gray hair and broad shoulders stepped out of the first Hummer, and all the Marines lined up behind him. Unlike the soldiers, the older man wore a green dress uniform decorated with medals. He also wore dark sunglasses and was smoking a cigar. He scanned the area like he had just stepped into a war zone and then directed his stern gaze at the police officers. "Which one of you is Commissioner Healy?" he asked. An older African-American man in a navy blue suit stepped forward from the group of police officers. "General Wilson, I presume," the commissioner said. "Thank you, sir, for coming." The commissioner and the general shook hands just a few feet away from the police vehicle that Connor sat inside. Thanks to a slightly rolled down window, he could hear every word the men were saying. He ducked into the back seat so they wouldn't see him eavesdropping. "Commissioner, will you please tell me what the heck is going on in your city?" the general said. "What could possibly warrant a president's decision to put boots on the ground?" "I wish we had more answers for you, General, but we're still trying to figure that out," Commissioner Healy said. "Long story short, the library is under attack. 2 of my officers responded to a distress call early this morning and discovered a young girl with strange abilities. She caused lightning to appear and somehow made the lion statues on the library steps come to life. The lions are currently guarding the library and attack anyone who tries to enter it. Once we were able to obtain photographic proof, we contacted the White House." Interestingly, the general didn't question the commissioner's report, as Connor had expected he would. "And, where's the girl now?" the general asked. "Well, as far as we know, she's still in the library," the commissioner said. "What she's doing in there is anyone's guess." General Wilson took a long drag on his cigar and slowly exhaled as he absorbed this information. After a moment, he turned on his heel and addressed the Marines behind him. "All right, soldiers, it's time to get to work," the general ordered. "I want a barricade around the library extending 8 blocks in each direction. Contact the Pentagon and have them establish a no-fly zone above the city of Manhattan. I don't want anything leaking to the press. I want snipers stationed on every roof surrounding the library. And once we take our positions at the base of the steps, we'll open fire on the statues and try to take them out. And then we'll find the girls inside." The commissioner was appalled by what he heard. "General, you can't shoot at the lion statues. They're national landmarks." General Wilson removed his sunglasses and looked the commissioner in the eye. "Thank you for your input, Commissioner, but your little backyard circus is now a matter of national security," he said. "I'll decide what measures I should or should not take to ensure that your city stays in one piece. If you have a problem with that, I'll have you placed on the other side of the barricade faster than you can say, 'I love New York.'" The commissioner didn't argue any further. The general nodded to his Marines, and they spread out like cockroaches to fulfill his orders. The general returned to his Hummer and was driven up 5th Avenue to get a closer look at the library. As the commissioner and his police officers watched the Hummers drive off, Jack snuck past the blockade and quietly opened the back door of the police car that Connor was sitting in. "Come on," Jack whispered. "Quick, while they're looking away." Once Connor had regrouped with his friends, they raced down 5th Avenue and ducked into the first alley they could find. With one slice of his axe, Jack freed Connor from the handcuffs binding him. Connor walked around the alley in a huff and angrily kicked the side of a dumpster. This is getting more difficult by the second, he moaned. Well, at least we know where your sister is, Goldilocks reminded him. That alone puts us in a better place than we were. Yeah, we still have to get to her, though, Connor said. These armies guys won't care if Alex is being controlled by a witch or not. They'll kill her the moment they think she's a threat. We've got to get to her before they do, and I don't have the slightest idea of how to do that. And I'm sorry, Jack, but no amount of imagination or positive thinking is going to help us get past the NYPD, the United States Marines, and 2 possessed lion statues. Bree, Jack, Goldilocks, and Red didn't even try to persuade him otherwise. They paced around in silence as they tried to brainstorm a possible plan. Their train of thought was interrupted by the sound of someone clearing their throat. Someone who wasn't in their group. They looked up and they saw that the homeless man from earlier was standing a few feet away. Forgive the intrusion, he said. I saw your little scuffle back there with the fuzz, and I know they didn't want to listen to you, but I'd like to help if you'd let me. Sorry, dude. I'm out of cash, Connor said. Yeah, this time I'm offering my services for free, the homeless man said. I know I may not look like much, but I know how to get to your sister. No offense, but I sincerely doubt that, Connor said. We need to get inside the public library, and every entrance is being guarded by the U.S. Marines and 2 man-eating statues. A smile spread across the homeless man's face. Yeah, that's where you're wrong, he said. They aren't guarding every entrance. Dun, dun, dun! I like it. I like where this is headed. Oh, this is fun. What's this guy gonna do? Fun. Very, very fun. I like it. Picasso. It's true. Yes, it is very Enchanted-esque. I know. Thank you, helpful homeless man. Yeah, it could be the sewers. Could be anything. Who's to say? So I'm gonna skedaddle. There may be a live later this evening, depending on how my infusions go. Expect updates on Patreon about a lot of things. I can't think of anything else. We probably need to start voting on what we're gonna read next, because although we're still reading this book, we don't have, like, we're a third of the way through it, you know what I mean? Like, and we get through these fairly quickly. So maybe we'll start debating suggestions of what we want to read next as a collective. Thank you, Summertime. I figure we'll read something else and then we can start the next series of Chris's, but you know, we always do a break in between each one to like break it up for people who want to read other stuff. So I don't know, we'll think of something, right? We'll come together and make a decision. I don't know, Grace, I hadn't even decided yet. I think we should debate, like, do we want to read another autobiography? Like, sometimes those are really fun. Like, we really loved Jodi's when we read it, you know, some tears, but it was a great book, you know, so maybe we want to do that. Well, Liz, I'm going to wait a little longer before doing that. I think I want to give everyone a chance to get their copies first. I don't want to start reading them until everyone has their copy available to them, just in case. But that doesn't mean we're not going to read it. I'm just going to wait a little. I know, right, Rosie? Seriously. Yeah. So maybe we'll debate another memoir, or I mean, like, I saw Henry Winkler's. That could be really cool. I also think that what's his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger's book I heard was really good. A couple like that. I already did Tom Felton's. I read that when it came out. Yeah. So something. We'll figure out something. All right, I will see you all later, and we will, I don't know if I can do true crime. We'll see. Let's see. It might be too much to read on here, you know, like allowed on TikTok. I'm not sure if that will be allowed. They get a little intense sometimes, you know? I like those analysis of common experience books. Yeah. We'll see. We'll debate it. I'm not saying we have to decide today. I'm just, you know, putting it out there. All right. I will see you all later, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.